Those who have been or currently are in the foster care system, what do you wish people knew? Family did foster care for 26 years. I was adopted when I was 5. Some are pure and want to help and maybe expand. Some are in it for dollar. Always been interested in fostering older kids when I get off age and life goal, but I honestly never even knew people got paid for this. Or it could be taken advantage of like that. Gross. I have a little brother who was adopted from the foster system. Our parents are good people. The most heartbreaking things that I noticed from him in the beginning were a kind of confusion at being treated well by our parents, and also confusion at being treated as just one of us / included as a family member. There are some not so good foster homes out there. I wish people didn't take for granted the beauty and the importance of found families for people who had to live in foster care. Found family means everything for me. And I feel like people don't appreciate found families a lot, or they take those families very lightly. Edit. Also, people underestimate how awesome a wonderful teacher can be for students. Teachers, if you read this, all I can hope is you don't take pity on foster kids. That happened to me way too often. Just be yourself, and treat me like your other students, please. I wish people knew that we had to learn certain coping mechanisms that create barriers we had to in order to survive. We need people in our lives willing to help us remove the barriers, to know that all we want is to feel safe, to feel loved. We know it's fudging hard to do. We need you. That we are human beings too, and large black trash bags are not luggage. There are organizations trying help in this way. If hearing about kids having theater items in trash bags moves you, look into donating to one. My wife and I recently got our first foster care placement about 3 weeks ago. It's been a short time, but this has been the best and most fulfilling experience of my life. My little foster daughter is such a wonderful, strong little girl, and I am happy to be able to provide her with a safe and loving home. This is the first time in her life she's lived somewhere and not had a lot of other kids around, and I think she's really flourishing with the one-on-one attention. I was in foster care for about a year, and one thing I wish more parents knew is patience is so important for some children. A lot of us come from troubled pasts, and trying to immediately force change, whether it be things like schedule or behavior, can do so much more harm than good, and getting frustrated with us isn't helping much either. Edit. Thank you for the silver kind stranger. I've had Reddit for like forever, but I just started using it a few days ago, so it means a lot. Oh man, this. My foster home had chores and structure, and shared my room with 3 other girls all under the age of 8, and somehow, because I was the oldest, it was my job to make sure they kept our room clean. I reacted really poorly to it all. Due to an ugly custody battle between my parents, my sister and I spent a short time in foster care, about a year. And I was 3 when I was put in foster care, my sister a little older. I was in my potty training days, and my foster parents made me wear diapers 24/7, and whenever I used the bathroom in my diaper they rubbed it in my face like I was a dog. Then also while I was there I got chicken pox really bad, and they refused to take me to the doctor or get me any kind of cream to help the itching, just let me suffer. Some farmers use foster kids as essentially slave labor. I was one of those kids. I got up at 4:30 a.m. to go round up the cows off the 180 acres, and get milking started before I could get ready for school. In summer it was the same, except full herd milking and more chores all day. Couldn't ever go anywhere, and smelled like dung all the time no matter how much I showered. Hated it. Ran away, but social services brought me back. I did learn a good work ethic though. My sister is a foster parent. She said that the episode of The Simpsons where they have to go to parenting classes to get the kids back is closer to reality than you'd think. Foster care and being in the system doesn't mean you live in a foster home. At 8 I was taken away from my parents who were drug addicts. I've lived with my grandparents since, and legally, I will always be considered a foster child and in custody of the state. I'm not in a foster home, and never have been in one. In the system from 4 to 18 years, the stigma I can't stress enough. It's not our fault we are here. I can't tell you how many people treated me like it was my fault that I was a foster kid. I'm 34 and still dealing with issues that occurred while I was in care. Shit's rough AF. It sucks. A lot. The biggest thing I hated the most was the complete lack of freedom or decisions in my life. Got booted to other places or wasn't allowed to do anything. Just doing normal things were basically out of the question most of the time due to lack of money or a ride or the placement just saying no. It's great to be out. Plus they give me money now. I was in foster care from age 4 until age 10. For me it absolutely sucked. You could tell the families were just in it for the checks. I was with 4 families total. The foster care system in Tennessee even separated me and my 2 sisters. I was finally adopted at age 11 and I love my family to death. It bothers me immensely how much it costs to adopt somebody. The system is completely broken. I'm in foster care because my mother left me early this year but been given the choice to stay with my uncle, so my experience isn't that bad, but I will say sometimes you feel like you're all alone and that you have lost everything, so the slightest affection or compliment can brighten my day sometimes. I know it's not the same as having people right there with you, but when you're feeling alone, just remember you have all your friends on Reddit and there's always someone here to chat with or lend an ear. That foster kids are usually more well behaved than normal kids. If you are in a normal family and you mess up, you would maybe get your video games taken away or grounded. If you mess up in foster care you get to move your whole entire life. A foster home is nothing like a regular home and abuse runs rampant. Turning 18 can seem like a death sentence. Don't try to act overly motherly or fatherly. This means something totally different to some of us. Sometimes the people who bore us aren't fit to raise us, and that can really screw with integrating into society. Calling God our Father is a scary thing. Saying you're going to mother me brings on a fear response. Take your time with wounded animals and wounded children. I was a foster parent for 11 years, all teen girls. Most of my kids still call me dad, and I haven't been one since 2010. I hope I did things right. We're just as confused and frustrated by the system as our kids. I wouldn't trade my time as a foster parent for anything. Not a foster care kid, but worked in group homes with former foster kids, and the number one thing that shocked me was how much abuse/neglect occurred in foster care, and this is with kids who've been pulled from their families by CPS for the same reasons. A lot of good foster parents are out there, but a lot also seem to take advantage of the fact that there aren't enough of them, so oversight seemed, to me, spotty at times based on my clients' files. I wish people would stop telling foster kids that families are great, and that family is everything, you can only count on your family, blah blah blah. It made me sick when people used to say stuff like that, as if I didn't just leave a horrible excuse for a family, or that my family most definitely isn't everything, since I can't count on something that fell apart. Life inside the system was lonely, and life outside the system is also lonely. It's a broken system. That amongst these heroes thrive a population of some of the worst predators I have ever encountered. That CPS is a crock of bullshiz without pity and without remorse. They don't protect, they facilitate, and systemize the abuse. I was orphaned at 7 and I was stolen from my loving, caring grandparents because it was profitable for these people to do so. It's completely common to lose all your belongings because you live out of a trash bag. Most foster parents treat the kids like property that they can pass on when they're tired of dealing with the kid. Out of all the homes I was in, there was only one that did it for the kids. The rest did it for the paycheck or the opportunity/access to underage children to touch. It's a twisted system that covers only itself when the truth comes out. 2.